Well, every week we get a flood of data. Every week. The numbers keep pouring in, and the same kind of reports month after month, week after week. We're updated. But not all these reports are treated equal. For instance, this week we got the housing starts number, and the new housing starts, construction for new homes, was 708,000, which was less than expected. The expectation was for it to be in the 720,000 number. And so you would think by looking at it that that's not very good news. And essentially it's really not that great news. But then you have to look at last month's and see that it spiked up. But even then, looking at housing starts is looking backward. What you really should focus on in the housing report is permits. How many new permits for new construction were issued? And if you looked at that, the new construction permits were up to 780,000, and that is as high as it's been since October of 2008. The highest it's been since October 2008. That was a big spike from the month before. A permit is a look in the future, because that's what they're going to build in the future. That is a leading economic indicator, and that's the number that you really should be focused on if you're looking at housing. So housing is improving. Also, if you looked at the prices are starting to rise on a nationwide basis. But it's that permit number is what you should concentrate. How many new permits? Now, don't mistake me. I'm not saying that 780,000 is a great number. It's not. Housing is still weak, but it's much better than it used to be. It's like the housing starts, housing sales, housing construction. It's 15 to 25% of what better than it was last year at this time. So we found a bottom. It appears to be a strong bottom. But we also had other statistics. The PMI out of China, the first reading of that was a little bit weaker. Our PMI was a little bit weaker. There's certain things that demonstrate clearly that we have hit a soft spot in our economy, and probably and so has China and other places of the world, and most of it could be laid at the doorstep of Europe. Most of that. Not all of it, but most of it. But you also want to look, and of course we had the New York Fed, and you had the Philadelphia Fed reporting on the regions, and their regions were softer, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking. And we're seeing that kind of the same thing we went through last summer, softness in our economy. Now, we don't know if the same result will be like it was last summer. Remember the rally coming out of the summer? But my gut feeling is that we actually may have a stronger rally coming out of this summer, and we won't have as strong as dip. Why? Because every country in the world is looking to try to spur growth in some manner, and that will work eventually. Just don't know when. And the other economic stat that you should be paying closer attention to is the LEI, Leading Economic Indicators, which was reported yesterday. And that was up a tad more than they expected. They expected to be up 0.1%. Now that's pretty small, right? It is pretty small. But it was up 0.3%. But looking at the LEI, you got to look a little deeper. There's 10 components of the LEI. 7 of those 10 components were up. 7 of them. So what you're seeing is a broadening of the LEI report, a broadening of better times. The LEI, Leading Economic Indicator report, is its job is to forecast 6 months, 8 months from now what the economy is going to do. It's trying to look forward, and it's telling you that we're not going to fall into recession. So there's a lot of fear out there that something like that's going to happen. Probably not going to happen.
The Invest Talk Update is a monthly briefing that gives you a snapshot of the past month's market, along with other useful perspective and information. You'll see important articles like Protecting Your Investments Against Scam Artists, excerpts from Steve's book, links to the month's Invest Talk talking points, plus news of upcoming Invest Talk events in your area. And it comes free each month to your email box. To get your subscription, just go to investtalk.com and click on the icon at the top of the page.